Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Drawing Right, the series in which I work through the book Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. Oh my god, I can't believe I've made it to episode 4. I keep thinking I'm going to throw in the towel, but then I read a bit more in the book and I get so excited for what's going to come up. This video deals with chapter 6, Perceiving Edges. This was definitely the most fun that I've had since starting, and where I really felt the book was showing me something new and groundbreaking, and I was able to put into practice some of the stuff I've learned over the past few weeks. It's really gratifying to translate intellectual knowledge and understanding into something practical and creative. I also loved how the book really led me through this process, so I didn't feel like I was doing something super scary or hard. It just felt like the logical next step. Now, before getting into the bit that I thought was super fun, first I'm showing you the exercise from chapter 6 that is called pure contour drawing. I've also heard this same concept referred to as blind contour drawing. It's basically where you only look at the object that you're drawing and you don't look at what your hand is doing or your paper until you've finished. The objective isn't to create something that looks like the thing that you're drawing, but instead you're trying to perceive edges and for your eyes seeing and your hand drawing to be in sync in terms of movement speed and direction, and to put your brain very firmly in R mode. I did the exercise twice. Both times I set a timer for 5 minutes. The first time I struggled with boredom. It felt like it took forever, and I was also in that brain space where I was worried about, quote unquote, doing it wrong. I hadn't quite grasped the objectives that I just mentioned. They didn't really become apparent to me until after I completed the exercise another time. The second time I was much more into it. As the book suggests, I was drawing the tiny little folds and wrinkles in my hand, simply following with my pencil on the paper exactly what my eyes were seeing. You can see the difference between the two drawings, at least I think you can. In the first one, I was pretty much only following the large lines on the palm of my hand, and I was doing a lot of thinking as well. And the second time, it was like my eyes were more tuned in to what was actually there, and I noticed all the tiny folds which I started following, and it made the process feel much more interesting. And as a consequence, I also think the drawing is more interesting. Now, moving on to the next exercise, which I absolutely loved so much, is the first time the book gets you to use the up till then mysterious picture plane. I assumed it would be used for looking at things and copying, but you actually draw directly onto the picture plane with a dry wipe marker, and the result is absolutely magical. You close one eye and trace your hand and fingers, and it comes out looking accurate. Just a quick note that on the video it doesn't look like the lines are quite accurate, and that is because the camera is not in the same position as my eyes, so you're basically looking at it from a different angle than I was. I loved this exercise because the result was so surprising and accurate. It was quick and easy to do, and the end result just looked so aesthetically pleasing. I just didn't think I could do something like that. I also felt like it really taught me more about how to see accurately. You're used to seeing and your brain interpreting and then telling you what it is you're seeing. Only when you start drawing do you realize that your brain sees or translates things inaccurately. And that's why it's so hard to draw. In this case, with the picture plane, you're almost re-seeing or seeing in a different way because you're tracing something that is accurate. But that is different from how your brain would have interpreted it if it hadn't been tracing it. I hope that makes sense, but in any case, if you have a picture plane, I hope you will run off straight away and get it to try this now, because I think it is best experienced for yourself, and hopefully you'll be as amazed as I was. So I did 4 different ones, although I realized afterwards that 1 and 3 were quite similar. I look forward to doing a few more, maybe also trying this while holding an object or drawing other things. Because the drawings on the picture plane are temporary and you erase them, I took a picture of each of them so I could print them and stick them into my sketchbook so I have a record of them. I really love how this sketchbook is just really developing and showing the trajectory of working through the book. I definitely feel like that was the right decision for me rather than working on loose paper. Leading on from this picture plane exercise, you will then create your first fully realized drawing of your own hand. I erased my fourth drawing on the picture plane before I realized that we'd be using it for the drawing on paper exercise, but it was fine creating another one to work from. As you'll see, I went with a slightly different pose for my hand. The exercise is done on toned paper, which you create yourself with graphite and a paper towel. So first off, I think I made some mistakes with this exercise in terms of interpreting the instructions. I copied quite a lot of the lines from the picture plane example, and I was working from that a lot rather than using it as an initial guide and then working from looking at my actual hand. Maybe I was also meant to leave my hand in position under the picture plane. I'm not sure. It would have been kind of uncomfortable anyway to keep that up for so long, but I did struggle with not knowing exactly how to position my hand again to look the same as it was when I did the picture plane drawing. I would definitely pay more attention to doing those things correctly if I did it again. Then I also forgot to use my eraser. You'll see I added some shading with the pencil, but I completely forgot to use my eraser to create highlights, essentially missing the whole point of working on top of toned paper. I realized this at some point towards the end, but by then I was feeling a bit lazy and I just wanted to be finished. I think I was itching to do some mixed media art, so I was just going through the motions with this to get to the end. I don't really mind though, because I learned a lot, and doing this has made me feel quite confident about how to approach it if I wanted to do it again. The thought of drawing my hand, especially in a challenging pose with lots of foreshortening, doesn't feel nearly as intimidating now that I know and have practiced some of these techniques and strategies. I really feel like this chapter had a very high level of demystification of the process, and it was very solid in terms of teaching practical techniques that anyone would be able to get on with, regardless of level of drawing skill. That's what made it so exciting and made me continue with it. Before I read this chapter, I really thought I might stop with the book and this series, but once I read it, I just knew I had to try it, and that was surprising, and I do love being surprised in that way. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're following along with the book, I'd love to know how you got on with these exercises. Please let me know in the comments. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!